There are 15 Japanese organization rules that Americans break every single day, and together they are the reason your house looks messy and cluttered no matter how many hours you spend tidying it. I have organized spaces for a living, from cramped restaurant backrooms to hotel storerooms where every shelf had to earn its place, and I promise you the problem in your home is not you. Most people are breaking at least 4 of these rules without knowing they exist. And the very last one on this list, number 1, is not a rule about a drawer or a shelf at all. It is about a single square of floor just inside your front door, the one spot that decides whether the mess ever gets into your house in the first place. Hold that in your mind because everything else on this list is really building you toward it. Here's the thing nobody told you. Japanese homes are less than half the size of American ones, with fewer closets and no basement, no garage, no attic, and there is still room for everything. So this was never about how much space you have. For about 100 years now, you have been sold furniture that is wide when it should be tall, deep when it should be shallow, and solid when it should be clear, and then you are left to blame yourself for the result. My grandmother in Japan kept a whole household running out of a space smaller than most American living rooms, and nothing was ever lost, because she built the room so clutter had nowhere to collect. We did not lose that skill because it failed. We lost it because someone learned they could sell us a bigger bin every time we felt behind. My name is Kenji Sato, and for 25 years I cleaned and organized professionally, from commercial kitchens to luxury hotels where a misplaced object failed the whole inspection. Early on, I ran the back storeroom of a busy hotel, and I learned the hard way that the room stayed neat only when every single item had one fixed home, because the day I let a shelf go loose, the whole room fell apart within a week. I am not here to sell you a single container, because you almost certainly already own too many. Now, before we go any further, I have to be honest with you, only a very small percentage of the people who watch this channel are actually subscribed. If you love the idea of a home that stays tidy on its own, without you giving up another weekend to it, even half as much as I do, then do consider subscribing. It is completely free, and you can always change your mind later. It genuinely helps a working man keep making these. Right then, let us count them down, from 15 to 1. Number 15? Number 15 is the way your clothes sit in the drawer. In an American house, clothes get stacked flat, 6 or 7 deep, and you only ever see the shirt on top. That means the shirt at the bottom is one you have owned for 2 years and worn twice, because you have never once lifted the 6 above it to reach it. In a Japanese, home clothes are folded into small rectangles and stood up on their edges, so every single item is visible the second you open the drawer. Standing them up fits more in the same space, not less, because a tidy rectangle takes less room than a rumpled pile. This is the KonMari method from the 2019 Netflix show, and it comes from a much older idea. So do one drawer tonight, fold everything into rectangles, and stand it upright. It takes 4 minutes. Number 14 is the cabinet you dread opening, the one full of baking sheets and cutting boards and pot lids lying flat on top of each other. You know the sound the whole pile makes when you reach for the one on the bottom. In a Japanese kitchen, every flat object stands upright in its own slot, pulled out one at a time without touching anything else. The fix is the strangest crossover in the whole house. You buy a file holder, the office kind meant for magazines, and every flat item gets its own vertical slot. 2 of them cost under $10, and the pile simply stops existing. A pile is horizontal storage, and horizontal storage cannot be read. That is the whole mechanism in one sentence. Number 13 is the empty air above your plates. Open your plate cabinet and put a tape measure between the top of the stack and the shelf above it. It will be 5 inches, sometimes 6. Now multiply that by every shelf, then every cabinet in the house, and that is the cubic feet of nothing you are paying rent on in a room you already thought was too small. In a Japanese cabinet, the shelf sits just above what goes on it. The fix is shelf risers, little platforms that give you a second level in the wasted space, so your mugs sit above your plates instead of leaving 3 inches of air. 2 of them cost less than lunch and go in with no tools, and a cabinet is measured by what goes into it, not by how tall it happened to be built. Do this to every cabinet in the kitchen, and you will find you have a second kitchen's worth of space you were paying for and never using. Number 12 is the closet, and it is where you lose 15 minutes every morning. In an American closet, the rail is packed so tight nothing slides. There is 18 inches of dead air above the hangers, and 2 feet of nothing above the shoe pile. A closet is measured in rail length, not floor space, and you own 3 levels of it and use one. Multi-layer hangers take 5 pairs of pants and hang them from one hook that used to hold one, and a shoe rack turns the floor into another whole level. And here's the number that should get your attention. 15 minutes a day looking for things adds up to 91 hours a year, which is 2 full work weeks you spend walking around your own house in a small private rage at yourself, and most of those minutes are spent standing in front of a closet you cannot see into. So buy 2 multi-layer hangers tonight and watch how much rail comes back. Number 11 is the drawer everyone in the house calls the junk drawer. Inside it are socks, a charger, one loose battery, a tape measure, a hair tie, and a bookmark from a hotel in 2017, and you go through it by feel every time. This has nothing to do with your discipline. Any undivided space in any house drifts toward junk over time, because it offers no place for anything, so everything ends up in it. The rule that governs this in Japan comes straight from the Toyota production system. The first 2 steps, sort and set in order, the same standard that runs the most reliable car company on earth. An open compartment is just a junk drawer that has not finished forming yet. The fix is 50 cents of plastic dividers, one section for each kind of thing, so every object has an address the moment you set it down. Do one drawer a night for a week, and no drawer in the house is a junk drawer. Number 10 is the opaque container. In an American pantry, the shelf holds a row of identical solid tubs, a cereal box with an inch left in it, and a third bag of rice you bought because you thought you were out. In most homes, exactly one adult holds the whole map of the pantry in their head, which means they can never be off duty. In a Japanese pantry, every container is clear, labeled on the front, and holds one thing, with the level visible from across the room. An opaque container is a decision you postponed, so swap the 6 things you buy most into clear labeled containers, and the pantry stops belonging to one person and starts belonging to the whole house. Number 9 is the freezer, and I will keep it short because it deserves its own video. In an American, freezer bags get thrown flat on top of each other, and the one on the bottom is welded to the back wall under a year of ice, which is exactly why you own a second bag of a thing you already have. In a Japanese freezer, everything stands upright in bins, labels facing the door, readable in a glance. You cannot forget something you can see, and if you cannot see it, you do not really own it, you are just paying to keep it cold. 3 plastic bins fix it. Number 8 is your kitchen counter, the first thing every guest sees, and the thing a couple fights about the most. It holds the knife block, the coffee maker, the paper towel roll, the fruit bowl with one banana in it, the mail, and the stand mixer you use twice a year. Every object has a footprint, and around each footprint is a ring of dead space you cannot cook on, which is why you actually chop on a 9-inch square in the middle of a huge counter. A guest forms their whole opinion of your home in about 4 seconds standing right there, and every object on that counter is talking to them before you get a word in. In a Japanese kitchen, the counter is bare because the tools hang on the wall, and the flat surface stays clear for the one thing a counter is actually for, which is working on it. So put up a magnetic knife strip, a rail for utensils, and a wall-mounted paper towel holder, move everything you can up onto the wall, and take your counter back. That is the pattern behind all 15 of these rules. The Japanese are not tidying harder than you are. They are building the room so clutter has nowhere to collect in the first place. Number 7 is a rule about where a thing lives, and it is the one professionals live by. Store it where you use it within one reach. In most homes, the coffee filters are across the kitchen from the coffee maker, the spare batteries are in a bedroom, and the scissors are wherever they were last dropped. Every step between an object and where you use it is a step where the object gets set down somewhere else instead. In a Japanese kitchen, the thing lives at the point of use, so putting it away is easier than not. So pick the 3 things you reach for most and move each one to within arm's length of where you actually use it. Tidying stops being a chore when putting away is the path of least effort. This is why a professional kitchen runs so smoothly. Nothing there is stored by category or by looks. Everything is stored by the hand that reaches for it, at the exact spot it gets used, so a busy cook never has to break stride, and a clean station stays clean because putting a thing back is easier than setting it down anywhere else. Number 6 is the rule that controls the whole volume of your house, and without it, every other rule on this list eventually loses. One in, one out. For every new thing that comes through the door, one leaves. This is the heart of a Japanese idea called dansari, which means to refuse, dispose, and separate, and it is the reason a small home never overflows. Your house is not messy because you are bad at tidying. It is messy because more comes in than ever goes out, so the volume only ever climbs. So starting today, when something new comes in, something similar goes out that same day. A new shirt in, an old shirt out, a new pan in, a tired pan out. Whatever you do, do not bring one more organizing bin into the house before you have first taken a full bag out of it, because a bin is not a solution, it is just a nicer looking place to keep the problem. Number 5 is the space you already own and cannot see. The dead space under and over things, the 6 inches under your bed, the wall of air above your kitchen cabinets, the back of every door. In a Japanese home, flat boxes slide under the futon, and the vertical space gets used to the ceiling. So put your out-of-season clothes in flat boxes under the bed, hang it over the door organizer on the back of the closet door, and use the top of the wall for the things you touch twice a year. You do not need a bigger house, you need the house you already have. Number 4 is the furniture itself, and it is the biggest mistake in the American home. Storage here goes wide, low dressers and 6-foot consoles and chests, so deep the bottom of every drawer is archaeology. In a Japanese home, storage goes up, tall and slim, with shallow drawers you can reach every inch of. Americans buy furniture by the floor it takes up. The Japanese buy it by the cubic space it fills because the ceiling is free and they know it. The proof is in your garage. A large share of American 2-car garages cannot fit a car because the wide storage habit spilled out of the house and took over the room built to protect the most expensive thing the family owns. So replace one wide unit with a tall, slim one, and look at retailers like Muji, Nitori, and Iris Oyama, who built every piece around this idea. Number 3 follows straight from that, and here's the record that should stop you cold. Roughly 1 in 10 American households is renting a second home, a self-storage unit, for things they do not use, paying monthly, forever, because the storage in their first home was built wide and shallow instead of tall and organized. That is a bill on the calendar every month to solve a problem a slim tower and a shallow drawer would have solved once. The reason it happens is that Americans buy storage one crisis at a time. Open the closet under your stairs and count them. A wicker basket from a Target run, 2 bins from a bad week, 3 canvas cubes that came free with a shelf. Nothing in that pile stacks so the closet reads as a mess the day after you cleaned it. In a Japanese home, storage is bought once, one product line, one color, two sizes, and the shelves are measured before a single container comes home. So measure the room that needs help most, then buy one system for all of it. A container of the wrong depth wastes more space than no container at all. Number 2 is the gap you do not even count as space. Go get the tape measure and go measure the 6 inches between your fridge and the cabinet, or the strip beside your washing machine. Now multiply what you pay per square foot by that strip, by every month you have lived here. Japan sells furniture built to fit exactly into that gap. The category is called Tsukima Kagu, which means gap furniture, and it comes in standard widths, the narrowest about 6 inches. The most common piece is a slim rolling cart, tall and skinny, that holds spices and oil in the kitchen or detergent in the laundry room and rolls back into the gap when you are done. So find your largest gap and fill it with something built for it. That 6 inches has been costing you money since the day you moved in. And now the one I promised you at the very start. Number 1 is not a rule about a shelf, it is a place, and it is the reason you needed all 14 of the others. The Japanese entryway is called the genkan, the small tiled area right inside the front door where shoes come off, coats come off, bags are set down, and the outside world stops. Picture the last time you came home with your arms full, keys in one hand, mail and a jacket over the other, a package under your elbow. You did not carry all of it to its proper place, you dropped it on the nearest flat surface and told yourself you would deal with it later. In an American house, the front door opens straight into the living room, and every item that walks in, every key, every piece of mail, every jacket, every school paper, every delivery box, keeps walking until it finds a flat surface to land on. That flat surface is your counter, your dining table, the back of your couch. Everything you have ever put down on those surfaces walked through your front door and was never stopped. I have watched families spend a whole weekend clearing counters, then watch the counters fill again in 3 days because they cleaned the symptom and left the door wide open. The fix is to build a small Genken zone within 3 feet of your front door, one hook for coats, one tray for keys and mail, and one basket for bags. Everything that comes in gets dealt with right there, before it can reach a single surface anywhere else in the house. This is the fastest visible payoff on the whole list, because the day you set it up, the drift of paper and jackets across your home stops overnight. That is number 1. Stop the mess at the door, and the other 14 rules barely have any work left to do. Not one of these 15 rules is about tidying harder, and that is the whole point. 2 Japanese words pull it all together. The first is teichi, the fixed position every object is given, so that when you pick a thing up, you already know exactly where it goes home. Clutter is really just unmade decisions, and teichi is the decision made once, in advance. The second is meh, empty space treated as something you own on purpose, not something you failed to fill. That empty shelf you feel a little guilty about is not a failure, it is the goal. A Japanese room breathes because the empty space in it was chosen, not lost. Your house was never really the problem, the geometry was, the storage built wide when it should be tall, deep when it should be shallow, and solid when it should be clear. Your not knowing this was never a character flaw. The wide dresser was cheaper than the tall one, the wicker basket was on sale that Saturday, the stack of shirts fit the drawer the day you moved in, and nobody ever went back to check what those first choices were doing 10 years later. A home that holds everything with room to spare is not about discipline, it is about being a person whose space works for them instead of against them, so the house finally gives your time and your calm back to you. So do me a favor and tell me 2 things down in the comments. Tell me which of these 15 is the biggest problem in your house right now, and tell me which one you are going to fix first because I read as many as I can and the patterns never stop teaching me. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Do it once, do it properly, and then it stays done. And subscribe before you go because next time I am going to open the one closet in your house that is full and useless at the same time and show you the $10 fix that doubles what it holds without you throwing a single thing away.